Good evening, everybody. Hell's Unicorn here once again. I was just on Lou Rockwell a little bit ago, and I came across an article that was linked to another website. This is actually taken from economicpolicyjournal.com, and apparently it seems that Michelle Bachmann has recently decided to leave her church. A lot of people leave churches for a number of reasons, but the church in which she left and the reasons for leaving are fairly auspicious. The church that she belonged to is the Wisconsin Lutheran Synod, referred to as the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod, and they are known to be one of the smaller bastions of conservative Lutheran doctrine, uncorrupted by modernistic influences and universalistic tendencies, the way other more, let's just say, liberal versions of the church which have cropped up since, particularly the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, which is actually partnered up with the United Church of Christ, which is the church that Barack Obama attended before running for president. And there's actually a little bit of irony here in the fact that Michelle Bachmann has apparently thrown her church under the bus for the same ambitions as that of Barack Obama when he threw Reverend Wright and the UCC affiliate that he came from under the bus. I've often asserted on a different channel, not this one, that there is a certain ebb and flow to history and as well to the present, and you get a lot of things coming around full circle. And this is not something that states that there's some necessarily preordained flow to all things on the planet and that everything is mechanistically determined. It's simply a reflection of the nature of human beings. In general, we tend to be opportunistic, and when a chance comes to further ourselves or to up our prestige, we will often abandon the principles that we once asserted to be immutable and unchangeable. And I'm going to read through this article. It's pretty brief, and then I'm just going to provide some insights on it, some of them theological, but most of them political. This was written today, or technically yesterday. I got home late. I was doing some work. Eric Maripodi at CNN is reporting that Michelle Bachmann and her husband officially left as members of the Salem Lutheran Church in Stillwater, Minnesota, just before announcing her candidacy for the presidency. Maripodi reports the Bachmanns had been members of the church for more than 10 years, according to Joel Hochmuth, Director of Communications for the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod, the broader denominational body of which Bachmann's former church is a member. The Church Council granted the Bachmanns' request to be released from their membership on June 21st, Hochmuth said. After declaring at the CNN WMUR New Hampshire Union Leader presidential debate that she would seek the nomination, Bachmann formally announced her presidential bid June 27th in Waterloo, Iowa. And a quick aside here. The significance of the fact that she left the church before announcing for the presidency in Waterloo, Iowa, is significant for two reasons. Number one, obviously, Iowa is the first state of note in the primary cycle. Secondly, Iowa is a Roman Catholic stronghold. And the significance of this will be revealed as I read along in this article, and I will now continue. The church is part of the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod. According to Maripodi, the Wisconsin Evangelical Synod has come under criticism from some Catholics for its views on the papacy, an institution that the denomination calls the Antichrist. Now notice, I am glad that this reporter was honest and said that it was some Catholics that were complaining about this church's views on the papacy, because the truth is there are a lot of differing Catholic groups, from the Society of St. Pius X to the Sedevacantist movement to the Union of Utrecht to the Italian and Poland Old Catholic Church alliances, and to Jansenist theologians like myself who hold a similar view of the papacy as well. Just so for everybody's general information. Continuing on. We identify the Antichrist as the papacy. The denomination's website says this is an historical judgment based on Scripture. Here are the text words from the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod's website, and I quote, "We reject the teaching that Christians should look for one individual to arise in the end times as the great Antichrist. The characteristics of the Antichrist are presented in Scripture, have been and are being fulfilled in the institution of the papacy." And this is particularly noted in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 4 through 10. I recommend reading them if you're curious about the ramifications of this quotation, because for anybody not affiliated with the Roman Catholic Church, this verse is very important to this entire story. Continuing. "We reject the opinion that the identification of the papacy with the Antichrist was merely a historical judgment valid only at the time of the Reformation." End of the article right there. My thoughts on the matter. I have a number of disagreements with the Wisconsin Synod, but the reasons why Michelle Bachmann left the church have nothing to do with them, so I can't really respect this move. And furthermore, she's leaving the church to go where? Is she going to go to the Catholic Lutheran Church, which is essentially the Roman Catholic Vatican II sect with the word Lutheran attached to it? Is she going to join up with the ELCA, the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America? I hear that they are very much pro-abortion, and they are also pro-Obama. Is she going to join the Missouri Synod? They have the exact same views of the papacy that the Wisconsin Synod does. Where's she going to go? Is she going to turn Anglican? Is she going to join a more liberal evangelical church that maybe doesn't have such hostile views towards the papacy? I have a feeling whatever church she chooses to end up in will be a church that will fit the political expediency that is represented in this move right here. There is no other way to explain this move in light of the fact that she is running for president and that Iowa is a very strongly conservative, pro-Vatican II Roman Catholic stronghold. The long and short of it is that if you're going to pander, why not go for the gold? And there is no more blatant and no more condemnable form of pandering than switching churches just to further political ambitions. This is something that I have absolutely no respect for at all. I had a bit of an inkling of a feeling that Michelle Bachmann was a disingenuous person that probably didn't believe half of the things that she said she does. My suspicions have pretty much been confirmed here. And in terms of the broader theological ramifications of this whole thing, I'm simply just going to say the following. There is a culture in Congress that has been in progress for a long time, but it really came to a head within the past 4 years or so when the first Jesuit chaplain was appointed to the Congress by Nancy Pelosi. Since then, it has become much more inconvenient for somebody who has a negative view of the papacy. No matter what persuasion you're coming from, if you have a bold assertion that the powers claimed by the papacy are illegitimate and not backed up by either Scripture or the early traditions of the Church, which they're not, but that's an aside matter for all that are not interested in the theological implications of this. The truth is that Bachmann, for all of this Tea Party this and I'm an independent that, she's an establishment candidate. Ron Paul is very accurate in depicting her as such. Ron Paul, though he does not personally harbor the same views of the papacy that I probably do, is nonetheless consistent in his message, and that will get respect from me in a political context a lot more than being right for the wrong reasons, or in Michelle Bachmann's case, being wrong for the wrong reasons. She didn't win my vote, and although my vote probably won't count much since I predict that she will be out of the race before the Pennsylvania primary commences, it's of little concern. Just a drop in the ocean, I guess. But to all that are concerned that Michelle Bachmann might siphon votes away from Ron Paul, that's not something that was ever possible. The two have very little in common with each other than outward claims of independent thought. When you look at how the votes break down, that's not the way it works. Oh well, just an interesting story that I thought I'd share with all of you. With prudence to myself and benevolence to all of you, good evening.